We are going to start our study session. We have item 5, and that was called ready. Then I'm going to jump all the way down to 9, which is my item, and I am going to call that one ready. Councilor Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam President, and blessings to all. I have items 10 through 21, and if there's no questions, I will call them ready.
All righty, Councilor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. Item 22 is going to be held, and we're going to hold a committee meeting to review the recent audit. Item 23 through 31 are ready, unless there's any questions. Item 32, 33, 34 will be discussed in executive session. And then items 35, 36, and 37 are ready, unless there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Geathers.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 38 through 65. I believe we're going to hold items 38, hold items 40, 41, and 42. And I believe item number 56 was withdrawn.
Can you
Not
repeat the
mistaken.
ones you're holding?
What's that?
Can you repeat the ones that you were
Holding? Yes. Holding 38, 40, 41, and 42.
Okay.
Counselor, you need to hold number 39 for the public hearing on the...
Yep, and also
I
39
thought
for the
that
public
one
hearing.
was it.
And I believe we're also holding 56, if I'm not mistaken.
56 is withdrawn.
Yeah, withdrawn, sorry.
Sorry, Counselor.
Yes.
Corey Dunham, Chief Operating Officer. So 56, Rich DeVesti went back to the school district and clarified that their contract is much more narrow than what we're looking for, so we would like 56 to move forward if the council's okay with it. We thought we could piggyback off the school district's contract with PBS, but it's too limited for what we need it for.
That's fine with me if it's
Okay.
fine with everybody else.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Madam President. That's all, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hogan.
Thank you, President Hudson. 66, 67 are ready. 68, I am going to continue to hold. 69 and 70 I'm holding pending the vote on 66. 71 and 72 are ready.
Can I make a request for 66 to be held to have more discussion on a few of the items?
You can make the request, but we're going to vote on it today. That's all. Thank you, President Hudson.
Thank you. Councilor Majuk, are you here? No. So Councilor Allen.
Yeah, I'll take this. So Councilor Majuk has items 73 through 83, and I do believe all of those were ready as of last week.
82 was held with a
82?
question mark.
Yeah.
Corey,
Oh,
82, is this the same?
so we can move it?
Yes, yep. That contract doesn't cover stuff for fire engines. So we'll need a waiver.
Okay.
Thank you.
All set?
Yep.
All righty, and with that, I need a, wait, how did I miss you?
Oh,
All right,
Councilor Allen.
Councilor Allen, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I have 84 and 85, and they both were ready as of last week.
All righty, that's it? No, I didn't miss anybody else, right? Who has 86?
Green, right?
Oh, there's a waiver item, Counselor.
Good afternoon, councilors. Matt OJ, Commissioner of Assessment. We'd like to discuss this in executive session.
All righty, so I need a motion to go to executive session.
So moved.
President Hudson, if I could just, I'm sorry for my shortness in that, item 66, but in regards to rezone, I was reading some information that came up the other day. Actually, the rezone, we talk about 6 years. Actually, the inception of a rezone, the idea for it was 8 years ago. And I feel that after all this work that's been done, I feel that we should vote on this finally, let the citizens know and the business people what they should know as far as where we're going, as far as the city goes. So that's all I got.
Councilor, if I may, Michael Collins, Commissioner of Neighborhood and Business Development. With what Councilor Hogan has said about the number of years that we've been working on this, holding for another meeting really does nothing significantly more than making the beginning of the implementation harder for everybody that's coming forward for a permit and the staff that's looking to do it. So we're hopeful that this can pass today.
So if I could ask a question about the transition process of old ordinance to new rezone and how long that's going to take to actually apply the new rezone to applications that are currently in, some that are on the Planning Commission agenda, et cetera, like.
So if it's an application that's already submitted, it's under current regulations.
Okay.
If that applicant wants to restate their application to go under the new rules, once that's passed, they have the option to do that. Anything that would come in after it's passed, or July 1st, which is the date that's stated, would be under the new rules. So pushing it into a July meeting does make that harder from an implementation standpoint.
And just a housekeeping question as far as staff goes, are you going to have training sessions or,
Yes.
and do you expect them to be kind of extensive or how is that? Because there'll be a learning curve, right?
There's going to be a learning curve, absolutely. Yep, there is anytime we do something major like this, and fortunately we've been working on it for a long time.
Okay, one last thing. I know I've said it 1,000 times, so and I apologize
appreciate
for
your
sounding like
questions.
a broken record, but the whole landscape term that's in the Article 6 for historic preservation, that Owen has definitely assured us verbally that it is excluding trees, shrubs, plants.
Mm-hmm.
Do we make an amendment afterward to rezone to get that wording in there officially?
So this is intended to be a document that is revisited on a regular basis going forward, and it will be. There's also parts of it, though, that really, if the interpretation works for legal and for those that do the review with the language the way that it is, and I'm not just talking about this, but anywhere within the document, then a lot of times that's what's most important.
So interpretation, though, leave it up to the person who's interpreting it then, right?
Any code is going to have some level of interpretation to it, because code can never be written specifically for every single instance that can be imagined.
But in this case with landscaping, that there's, exclusions, which New York City has it in there as well, where they exclude specifically, and we're talking 4 words. It's not really rocket science.
So again, if this is something that we look at and it needs to be revisited, we will. New York City is, unfortunately, not a comparison that we can make to really any city outside of within New York when it comes to the.
Councilor, it seems many of your questions delve into the administration of this codes. We're legislators. We're going to vote on this code and allow Mr. Collins and his people to administer it.
We are legislators, I agree with that. We're also counselors who field questions on a daily basis. So, for instance, last Thursday, June 15th, here in the Landmark Preservation meeting, they actually started asking questions, some board members, about shrubs and plantings. And thankfully,
I'm
Kate
not
was there.
surprised at that, having been to those.
Okay.
That would be a question that we brought up
Having
about
that
shrubbery.
clarity very crystal clear, because Owen has already verbally assured us that that is the case. I just don't see the harm in that. So I'm just wondering as a counselor if I need to submit an amendment to make sure that that word gets stamped in there, because the document hopefully will stand on its own years after we're all gone. So I just want to make sure that we do it right the first time.
And I want to piggyback on top of that, because I hear what you're saying, Counselor, and I hear what you're saying, but this is the thing, Mike, before we even took on rezone, before you even came into this administration, we've been dealing with this for quite a while.
Yeah.
We understand this is a living document. We understand that we can continue to add amendments. We're not going to get it right the first time. Nothing is right the first time. There's no perfect situation, but please be prepared that as soon as it's approved, the council will be adding amendments. So I think that we can go from there and put in things, because I know there's quite a few people that's not going to be happy about the way we move rezone. But my assurance is that we will be amending this document. This is a living document, so we will continue to amend it.
Yeah,
And
appreciate
we
that.
are in the throes of a housing crisis, a fair, affordable housing crisis. that we need to fix. We are not in the middle of a tree and shrub crisis. So let me say that from if I'm not loud enough, I'll climb on top of the roof and shout it. That is our biggest problem. Fair housing is a human right. We have to move.
As any legislation that you pass, the council has the authority to revisit legislation.
And we absolutely will, because this has been going on from the minor administration, and we've been kicking it down the road for at least 10 years. You said 8, I remember 10. So we're just gonna
It's been a good chunk of Owen's life, so yes.
It has been. I mean, and when we talk about housing, from what I understand, that if this was in place, we could actually have developers, they'll be required to put that piece of legislation
And
in.
let's not forget this also, for the first time, and I believe it's the only city in the state, will be establishing a benchmark as far as affordable housing goes. So this is something for us, the council, to vote on and be proud of. And as I have already talked to Mr. Berry, and there will be a vehicle to amend, as you said, President Hudson, afterwards, if we need to amend.
And we will amend what we need to amend, because there's things in there, I hear you, Councilor Schultz, but there's things in there that I would like to see changed a little bit. So we will have to offer amendments, so.
Thank you, President Hudson.
Thank you. Any more on rezone? No? What are you finna do, sir?
Executive session.
Okay, we got the motion. All in favor? All righty.